The next breakout on Bitcoin is happening right now. And on today's update video, I am going to be discussing the price target of this breakout on Bitcoin. Obviously, I will give a big update on my current ongoing trades. I'm going to update you on where I will be locking in my profits of my already more than $200,000 profit on my Bitcoin trade right now. Of course, I'm going to be talking exactly where we're heading towards. And so far, the predictions we made in all the last days have been perfectly playing out here. But Bitcoin is running in towards a very important level of resistance where I want to be talking about. Of course, I'm going to be discussing my exact price targets. I am, of course, going to be exactly tell you about why we're going to be making so much money in this upcoming period in the market. I have a big opportunity for you guys out there. The Ethereum trade exactly also played out like we have been predicting for the last few days here. I'm going to give a big update on Ethereum, where I think it's heading towards next year. And more importantly, I will be discussing the price targets and what is exactly going to be happening this week with all the big news here that is going to hit the market this week here. So a lot to discuss on today's update video. So don't forget to once again slap up that like button back above 1,000 likes will be highly appreciated. And with that being said, let me jump straight away in towards today's update video. So first of all, if I am just purely looking at Bitcoin, I'm clearly identifying this downward sloping resistance line as the most critical level of resistance for Bitcoin. And whenever we break above this high right here, I think the big continuation towards the upside is going to start to play out here. So this is, of course, exactly what I will be looking at. And whenever we do see the confirmation of the break above this level, I think we could start to say that we are going to confirm the breakout of the bull flag pattern on Bitcoin. And yes, if I'm looking at the Bitcoin bull flag pattern and looking at certain price targets we should be aiming for, I think a target between $125 to about $130,000 is a very likely target to be reached from off this point of the breakout. And of course, many days before as well here, also while we were in the middle of the correction and liquidity was not building up below us anymore, but was clearly piling up above us, I have mentioned so many times before, Bitcoin always follows the liquidity. And that is exactly what is happening right now here, right? So we're seeing the liquidity being built up above us, and Bitcoin is exactly starting to grab it. So I still think Bitcoin is at least going to push up to about 121,000 US dollars, because that is where the majority of the liquidity is laying. So yeah, I won't be surprised to see Bitcoin push up ever so slightly higher before potentially it's going to be running in towards somewhat of resistance. And here you can see it also in May and July, we also create a nature bull flag pattern. We are right now just doing exactly the same yet again here. And of course, whenever such a pattern breaks out and we see the confirmation, it is just likely to expect a bigger push towards the upside. And for this Bitcoin uptrend to hold, of course, we should be looking at this major upward sloping support line. And then before I dive even deeper in towards, of course, the analysis, I quickly want to be mentioning that this week is going to be a big news in terms of news here, because we're going to have the Fed officials speak all week long here. We're going to get the CPI and core CPI data on Tuesday. We're going to get the initial jobless claims on Thursday. Also, the PPI and core PPI release on Thursday as well. And then in the end of the week on Friday, Trump will be meeting with Putin in Alaska. So guys, this is going to be a very big week here. It's going to be very, very busy. Probably this will be very volatile. So yeah, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because I will keep you guys up to date exactly on what is going to be happening. Then also, the Bitcoin inverse and the shoulders pattern exactly played out like we predicted. It found support on the lower side and now is starting to bounce towards the upside. The price target of this pattern is really around $140,000, which is quite an insane target. But of course, yeah, Bitcoin does clearly look like it is about to see a big, big push towards the upside. But ultimately, I discussed it many times before here. If I am looking at most of the indicators where I can predict the top end for top for on Bitcoin, it is likely going to be 140 to about $130,000, and it's most likely going to be happening in the next 2 months here, because in 2 months from now on, according to history, the Bitcoin bull market cycle should be over. But that is, of course, only if it's going to be playing out exactly the same like all those previous cycles. So that is also where I will be personally taking most of my profits from this trade here. So I am really targeting levels around $130,000 up to about $140,000. But of course, if we hit those levels, I will start to scale out quite aggressively out of my trades here. And guys, there is right now still an insane deposit bonus that I managed to continue for you guys out there. So if you want to be trading, first of all, if you sign up an account on WeX using the first link below, guys, you will get a 25% fee rebate, which makes this the cheapest exchange out there. It's only available by signing up an account using the first link below. But if you also press on that link, you will come to this page where you can clearly see if you're ready to sign up an account using that link below, and after you signed up your account, download the application and log in, you will get a free $1,000 airdrop position. But note, you have to do KYC before. You have to do KYC because otherwise, of course, you can create thousands of accounts and claim once, like thousands of times, a free $1,000 trade here. But guys, if you still want to claim this free $1,000 trade, it is very, very easy to claim here, and it's super, super valuable because yeah, it's only by signing up, confirming KYC, and yeah, also on top of that, like I said, you will get that 25% fee rebate, which makes this the cheapest exchange out there. So if you need an exchange to trade on, definitely check out WeX in the link description of today's video. And yeah, guys, honestly, I'm very active also in my private group here, which you can also join here. It's the second link in today's video description. That is, of course, where we are building the community. So check that out as well here. It is absolutely amazing. Then now I'm going to do a deep dive in towards Ethereum, and it's probably going to be a little bit longer because I found a lot of very interesting things here. Of course, first of all, this chart, many of you guys know here. I talked about my ETH compared to Bitcoin chart where I think it's going to be hitting resistance. Yeah, it basically exactly played out once again here. So that is, of course, absolutely amazing to see. The ETH compared to big dollar valuation, of course, broke out towards the upside, shot towards the moon. And basically, if you're going to compare it to Bitcoin, we still have likely a big push towards the upside to go here. And ETH compared to US dollar on the monthly chart here also looks like it's breaking out here. And ultimately, the target of this breakout is $8,000, which is of course quite insane here. But of course, that is the ultimate target for this major monthly breakout. And I want you to know here, Donald Trump also still holds over $500 million worth of Ethereum. And yeah, he probably does know something about this, right? Vitalik also, since he's holding so much Ethereum, right now once again became a billionaire. So yeah, congratulations to him here. And what is very interesting to see in this most recent push on Ethereum is that retail interests and retail investors are basically stepping out here while large investors are stepping in here. I mean, I also just most recently posted about it on my Twitter page, is that Sharplink Gaming right now owns over $2.2 billion worth of Ethereum, and they are continuously buying and buying more and more. And this is one of these large investors that is very aggressively accumulating Ethereum. And that is, of course, something very great to see here. Then also, what I want to be talking about is the Bitcoin dominance chart here, because yes, you can start to see it is starting to look like altcoin season is really going to come right now here. The Bitcoin dominance, of course, saw that major rejection from the top side, and basically the gains that we can make on altcoins from here on are so massive still, since we're still relatively speaking towards the top side. So yeah, I am very excited for what is about to be happening next year. I think the coming 2 months are going to be great for altcoins, are going to be great for the entire market right here. So yeah, super excited for that here. The Bitcoin dominance ultimately is right now on its way towards a more altcoin season-ish like period in the market. And I'm not saying this is going to be lasting for a very long time here, because if we're looking back at the historical data, here it lasted for only 120 days. Here it lasted for like only, what is it, like 60 days here. And now we are in, what is it, like 31, maybe 60 days. And I think it's going to be lasting for another 60 days here, because I think we have another 2 months here. So this is the most exponential period in the market. And you can see also in 2018, it was that last month where the biggest gains on altcoins came. Also here in 2021, it was the second to last month where the big gains on altcoins were realized. And once again, I think something similar is yet again going to be playing out here. So yeah, I've been predicting this for such a long time here, and it's quite easy to do so. So yeah, Bitcoin, of course, creating a very similar pattern like the total tree here. So a big breakout for the total tree market is also very much expected of this moment of time right now here. Then yet again, I want to be mentioning spot retail activity is so freaking low here. There's almost no retail activity yet. Well, that is usually what you tend to see spiking whenever we hit all-time highs and whenever we see Bitcoin go quite parabolic. But so far, that has not happened yet here. And I want to be reminding you, the spot Bitcoin, the BlackRock spot Ethereum staking ETF is right now also in the pipeline. It is already waiting to be approved here. And yeah, BlackRock usually never fails for ETFs that don't get approved here. So this is very likely to get approved also very, very soon here. And of course, if this is going to be happening, I think it takes probably another 3 to 4 months here. Yeah, it is honestly going to be very, very great for Ethereum, because then you can get API on your Ethereum ETF here, which is probably going to be attracting even more value. So super bullish things are happening in the background. Obviously, we're just building. I think really the price target for my trades here, I just told them Bitcoin, I think it's going to be going to about $130,000. Ethereum, the ultimate target is $8,000, of course, on spots, but I think it's a little bit of an unrealistic target to be hitting. So I will be definitely taking some more profits along the way up here. But for me, it's going to be important to understand where we are in this part of the cycle, right? We still have 2 months left here. And just like I said to you, this is the part where, of course, the big gains are realized. The Bitcoin dominance is still yet going to be dropping very heavily. Of course, Ethereum compared to Bitcoin valuation, if you're starting to zoom out on this chart, does have much more room towards the upside. And I see some more very important levels where we can get rejected from, but we are also starting to be breaking or approaching this major downward sloping resistance line. So this is going to be one of the next levels I will be looking at, but of course I will update you guys along the way here. But for now on, I will hold my trades open, and whenever I am going to be closing them on a flash close, guys, you have to be in my private group because I will be sharing it over there. So check it out in the description of today's video. If you want to trade on reaction just like I am doing, check it out on the first link of today's video. But anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.